The center position in the NBA is such an important piece to a competent NBA roster, and having a good center highly increases your chances to win an NBA Finals. And honestly, who doesn't love a good big man? Hello everyone and welcome back to Step Back with Zach, and in today's video I am going to be finishing up my top 5 at every position series with obviously the center position. Now, the center position is one of the most deep positions in the entire NBA with all-star level talent quite literally everywhere, but I think that the top 2 are pretty unanimous. However, whatever order you have the top 2 in, I don't really mind, but this is ultimately what I have settled in. So, just like always, quick disclaimer, my criteria for these lists is based off of what you did last season and the playoffs and what I project you to do going into next season. So, if you don't agree with my list, go make your own list and tell me who you'd have where instead. So, just like always, we're going to jump right into the honorable mentions, and again, not going to go too deep into these guys. I'm just going to say who they are, and yeah, we're going to go from there. First up, I have Donovan Clingan of the Portland Trail Blazers, Jarrett Allen of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Ivica Zubac of the Indiana Pacers, Domantas Sabonis of the Sacramento Kings, and Alperen Şengün of the Houston Rockets. Yeah, that's right. You overrated bum. You are not making my top 10 list. Absolutely not. So jumping right into the top 10, at the number 10 spot, I have Alex Sarr of the Washington Wizards. Alex Sarr last season averaged 16 points, 7 rebounds, and 3 assists to go along with 2 blocks in 27 minutes per night on a pretty bad 54.4% true shooting percentage. But this is way improved from his rookie season, like 6% better, because he stopped being as dumb. And a big reason that this true shooting percentage has gone up is because of the fact he stopped taking over 5 threes a game, and he reduces down to 3 attempts while shooting 33.3% from 3. Alex Sarr is going to be one of the best defenders in the NBA in no time. He's a 7-footer, he's got really long arms, great defensive instincts, and alongside Anthony Davis, those two are going to be such a monster defensive tandem. And I think because of his defensive abilities, he is going to be such an important piece to this, I guess, young Washington Wizards team with Trae Young and Anthony Davis. But Alex Sarr, like I mentioned, 2 blocks per game. It was very high up in the NBA. Doesn't officially count because he didn't hit the 65-game quota, but that's still a lot of blocks per game. He's never afraid to contest shots. It seems every single time he is on the floor and a shot goes up at the rim, he is there to contest it. Quite literally in the 99th percentile at contested shots at the rim. He holds opponents to 7.6 below their average field goal percentage at the rim and 6% below in the paint outside the restricted area. And I think, again, with having a mentor like Anthony Davis to help him work out his post game, bulk up a little bit, become a little bit of a more efficient finisher inside, especially his touch on the layups, it's going to be really important for him. And then having an incredible elite playmaker in Trae Young is going to be huge for his lob presence inside. Having someone like Trae Young who will always find you in your spots is very important for a guy like Alex Sarr, such a good rim defender. And then going back to the defense real quickly, like I mentioned, really good rim defender. However, he is quite bad at guarding in space, really slow-footed. If he gets caught on an island, he's completely screwed. But I genuinely think he can be one of the best rim protectors in the NBA. Just needs to stay healthy, put on some muscle and size, and just be a bit smarter on the court. He was the number 2 overall pick in 2024, so he's still quite young. Still has a lot of room to grow, but I think with these added improvements, Alex Sarr can be a top 10 center in the NBA. Sarr's in at number 10. Next up, moving into the number 9 spot, I have Rudy Gobert of the Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, Rudy Gobert is someone that I have not been shy to criticize ever since I've become an NBA fan. But for how much I don't like Rudy Gobert as a person, he kind of won me over in this recent playoff run against the Denver Nuggets. Not against the Spurs though, just against Jokic. Last season, in the regular season, he averaged 11 points and 12 rebounds with 1.6 blocks per game on 68% from the field, which is pretty damn good for a 66.4% true shooting percentage. One of the best defensive presences in the NBA. There's absolutely no denying that. Gobert was debatably the second most impactful rim defender. It's either him or Chet Holmgren. He was an all-defensive first-team member and finished 4th in the Defensive Player of the Year race. He's also an elite rebounder. He was 5th in the NBA in rebounds per game, 3rd in offensive rebounds per game. He averaged just shy of 4 per night, which is crazy. He held opponents to 9% below their average field goal percentage at the rim and 13.5% below from less than 6 feet, which is insane, and he held them 6% below the average field goal percentage from just everywhere in total. He's never going to be a good offensive presence. He moves like a moose on skates. He's got hooves for hands, but Rudy Gobert is just an incredible defensive player. He's a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year for a reason. But I do think that having LaMelo Ball now alongside him, who's another really damn elite playmaker, Rudy Gobert, it just needs to be able to roll hard to the rim, keep his eyes up, and hopefully he's able to catch the ball, because LaMelo Ball's going to be throwing him a lot of alley-oops this next season, and I think he can be, if he just grabs the ball and holds it, a really good lob target for LaMelo. Against Nikola Jokic, who is the best offensive player that we have seen in a very long time in the playoffs, he was insane. And he genuinely made people think that Jokic had fallen off. Nikola Jokic, against Rudy Gobert, in the playoffs, averaged 13 points per game. Again, this is when guarded solely by Rudy Gobert. 13 points per game, 2.2 turnovers per game, on 42% from the field, 25% from 3, and had 13 turnovers across 6 games, which is just absolutely crazy. Gobert absolutely held his own against Nikola Jokic, and it really helps because Jokic is slow, and he uses his size and his strength, but Gobert is so strong. That dude's got one of the most insane physiques in the NBA. He's ripped. He's so strong, Rudy Gobert is. So I think that is why he was able to guard Jokic so well. He's got a 7'9" wingspan or something ridiculous like that, so he's able to contest shots. And although he's not the shot blocker he once was, he's still really good at contesting shots at the rim. Rudy Gobert was incredible against Jokic. However, in round 2 against Wemby, he got absolutely fried, but we're not going to hold that against him because Wemby's just an insane, different kind of player to guard because of his insane size, but Rudy Gobert is in at number 9. Moving right along into the number 8 spot, this one might surprise some people, but I have Walker Kessler of the LA Lakers. Now, Walker Kessler last season played only 5 games because he had season-ending shoulder surgery, but he averaged in those 5 games 14 points, 11 rebounds, 1.4 steals, and 2 blocks per game on 70% field goal shooting. And although, again, he only shot 8 3-pointers last season, he made 6 of them. Really promising, again, only in 5 games. But across his entire career, he has been consistently one of the best offensive rebounders in the entire NBA. Last season, in those 5 games, averaged 4.6. However, the year before, where he played just shy of 60, he also averaged 4.6. Just really damn good numbers. He's one of the best shot blockers in the NBA, really damn good rim defender, and if we look at his defensive stats from that 2024-2025 season, he held opponents to 10.4% below their average field goal percentage from less than 6 feet, 10% below from in the paint outside the restricted area, and 5% below from everywhere in total. Just really damn good defensive numbers. Now, can he be a defensive anchor though? That's kind of the question, because in that same season, his on-off numbers were not actually that great. Like, he only improved the Jazz's defense by like 1 or 2 points, but the Jazz were just a terrible defensive team anyway, so I'm not really holding that against Walker Kessler so much like a lot of people are. I really like Walker Kessler. I've wanted him on the Lakers ever since Luka got there. I just think that Walker Kessler, because he is a 7-footer, he's massive, super strong, really long arms. I think he's the exact center that Luka Doncic is gonna want to play with. And I think he will be the best center that Luka has ever played with. He's gonna be a really damn good lob target for not just Luka, but AR as well. And although I don't think he's ultimately gonna solve the Lakers' defensive problem, because again, they don't have anything on the wings, he will definitely help hold down the interior. The unlucky thing for Walker Kessler is that the Lakers definitely overpaid for him. Walker is going to be incredible in LA. Is he going to be all those picks really good? I'm not too sure. I hope so. And again, I think he's going to have his best season of his career next year. But he does shoulder a massive responsibility to try and hold down the Lakers' entire defense because, there's him and Vando? That's literally the 2 defensive players on this team. It's just crazy, but I'm really hoping for Walker Kessler. He's in at number 8. Next up, in at the number 7 spot, I have Isaiah Hartenstein of the OKC Thunder. iHart is different from the first 3 players that we have talked about. He is the best 2-way big of everyone that we've talked about so far. And although you look at his box score numbers being 9 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists, for a 63% true shooting, he does so much more of the little stuff and the stuff on the margins. Like, he's never going to be someone that puts up insane box score numbers, especially playing alongside Chet Holmgren. That's just not what he's there to do. But he is one of the best passing big men in the NBA. His two-man game with Chet Holmgren is amazing. His ability to play make out of the short roll or on the block or at the free throw line is incredible. He's an elite screen setter. He's a really damn good rebounder. He's super physical, and he's got really damn good touch on that floater push shot thing that he absolutely loves to do. And he's still such an elite defensive player as well. And although he doesn't block a lot of shots, like it was less than one per game this past season, he's still held opponents to 13% below their average field goal percentage at the rim and 14% below from in the paint outside the restricted area, 15% below from less than 6 feet, and 8% below from every single spot on the floor combined. And yes, it's only in a 48 game sample size, but those are still some really good numbers, and it helps when you are surrounded by elite defensive players as well. Like, do I think you put Isaiah Hartenstein on a normal team that these numbers are going to be this great? No, absolutely not. He is also a product of the system, but he works so damn well in that system. And he's just, like I mentioned, someone that's always going to do all the dirty work. You could put him on any single team. His portability is insane. He also did a really good job at guarding Wemby for the most part. And then after that game one where the Spurs won and Wemby put up 40 points, a lot of us, including myself, were like, nah, Isaiah Hartenstein's not going to be able to play. But then Mark Daigneault put iHeart on Wemby, and he actually played him quite well. He's very underrated. Isaiah Hartenstein in at number 7. Next, we move up a tier of center in terms of skill level. Right here in the number 6 spot, I have Bam Adebayo, Mr. 83 himself of the Miami Heat. Now, Bam is one of the best and most versatile defenders in the NBA. He last season averaged 20 points, 10 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block per night on 44% from the field, 32% from 3, and 78% from the free throw line for a true shooting percentage of 55%. He also finished on the all-defensive second team last year. Alongside Giannis Antetokounmpo, they are going to be very damn scary defensively. Bam Adebayo is just kind of a weird player to gauge because throughout his entire career, I think he, without Jimmy Butler, has just been very average. Like the Heat, I mean, have just been very average. But now that he's going to be playing alongside one of the greatest players in NBA history in Giannis, I think that he's hopefully going to be better. He improved the Heat's offense by almost 6 points per 100 possessions last season and their defense by 4. If he can improve on his corner three-point shooting, I think that this is going to be elite for the Miami Heat, especially considering how much Giannis is just going to continue to attack downhill. And with the spacing provided from Bam Adebayo, their offense could actually become pretty damn decent. He ramped up his three-point volume massively from 3 last season, where he got up to almost 6 per game from like 2 or 3 the season prior. But like, I don't really know. I mean, Bam is a great post defender. He's super strong. He's got really long arms. He's good at guarding guards. He can comfortably guard 1 through 5. He's not a very good rim protector though. When people get to the rim against Bam, he does struggle to stop them because again, he is going to be guarding the bigger players a lot of the time, and people like Chet or Wemby, although they are skinnier and smaller, they are significantly longer. And even like a Jokic is still taller and maybe even a little bit stronger. But everywhere else, Bam Adebayo is incredible. I still cannot fathom that this dude is the second leading single-game point scorer in NBA history. I'm writing the notes for him. It made me be like, what the fuck? Bam really did that. 83 points. What the hell? What? I literally stopped watching an incredible Wemby game against the Celtics to watch that. What the hell? Oh, but just be careful that once you leave the Heat, that you don't start talking about how much better you think you are than Bam, because Bam will punch you in the face. Tyler Hero, you idiot. What are you doing? Anyway, Bam Adebayo in at number 6. Now we move into the top 5. At number 5, I have Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers. 4 years ago, having him here would have been insane, but last season, he averaged 27 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists, on 49% from the field, 33% from 3, and 85% from the charity stripe for a 60.5% true shooting. Obviously, the biggest question when it comes to Joel Embiid is Is this motherfucker ever gonna be healthy enough to stay on the floor for 60 plus games? Last season, he played 38 games. The season prior, he played 19 games. The season before that, he played 39 games, so health is definitely a massive question for Embiid. It always has been, but even 80% of Joel Embiid is still one of the most imposing and fear-inducing offensive presences in the NBA. He's incredible at getting to the free throw line. He's got excellent footwork in the post, some of the best that we have seen since Hakeem Olajuwon. He's got great touch around the rim. He's got a really good short mid-range jumper, and we saw what he was able to do against the Celtics in the playoffs, where without Embiid, the 76ers trail the series 2-1, and then in the first game back where he's just trying to ramp it up, the 76ers get completely smashed by like 30 points, so they go down 3-1, but then once Joel Embiid somewhat found a rhythm and his groove, they go on to win 3 games in a row, beating the Celtics in 7 games, and even the Celtics said that they literally had no one to guard Joel Embiid. One of the top 5 best defensive teams in the NBA of the regular season could not find an answer for an injured Joel Embiid. Against the Celtics, rather, he averaged 28 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists with 9 free throw attempts per game. Now, when it came to the next round against the Knicks, he was just not that great. Obviously, he was exhausted, plagued by injuries. And they got swept, but that's neither here nor there. And he's obviously regressed as a player, but Joel Embiid is so skilled offensively still. He does need to realize, though, that this is now Tyrese Maxey's team. And even playing alongside Jaylen Brown, he's not going to have as many touches, and you don't want him to have as many touches because he's super old, and he did show signs of just taking some really dumb shots last year, but he still is always going to create so much offensive gravity, and he's a pretty poor defender, but he's still really solid at contesting shots at the rim. Joel Embiid is here at number 5. Next up, moving into my number 4 spot, I have Karl Anthony Towns of the New York Knicks. What a story. Man, for Karl Anthony Towns, he was an all-star last season, averaging 20 points, 12 rebounds, and 3 assists on 50% from the field, 37% from 3, and 86% from the free throw line, while being one of the best shooting big men in the entire NBA. Cat, during the regular season, I was pretty underwhelmed by, if I'm being honest. Like, he was just okay. When I did my season ranking of my top 10 centers, I had him at 6, I think, and I just didn't really have much to say about him. He was still really solid offensively, but was a terrible defender. But it was the playoffs that really won me over with Cat and put him here at number 4. He averaged 16 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists on shooting splits of 55% from the field, 46% from 3, and 91% from the free throw line for a 68.4% true shooting percentage. I don't know what was going on with the Knicks. I don't know what kind of water they were drinking, but it seemed like everybody was just making every single 3-pointer that they put up. It was insane. One of the best shooting playoff runs I have ever witnessed. Really stepped up defensively when it mattered the most, and he did a really good job against Victor Wembanyama, again, just being very physical. Obviously, he was still not an elite defender. He was really good for his standard, but in terms of, again, though, the best defending big men in the NBA, or just even the somewhat average big men in the NBA, I still think he needed to improve a little bit. In the first 2 games of the NBA Finals, I thought he was the best Knick. More so than Jalen Brunson, more so than OG. And he really showed throughout the entire playoffs that he can be the playmaking hub of the offense. Easily. I'm pretty sure he led the NBA in triple doubles in the playoffs with 3 or something. I could look it up, but I can't really be bothered. He really sacrificed the scorer that he was in Minnesota to fit what the Knicks needed for them to win it all. And it worked. He's a really good screen setter as well. One of the best rebounders in the NBA. He's second in the NBA in rebounds per game and led the NBA in double-doubles in the regular season and was tied first with Wemby in double-doubles in the playoffs. Karl Anthony Towns in at number 4. Next up, in my number 3 spot, I have Jalen Duren of the Detroit Pistons. Now, this one might be a little bit controversial because, yes, he was bad in the playoffs. However, I did say my criteria was also in the regular season and what I project from them for next season. Last season, he averaged 20 points and 11 rebounds on 69% true shooting. And yes, like I mentioned, he was bad in the playoffs, but he was a monster in the regular season. Duren was an all-star for the first time in his career and was a member of the All-NBA third team. He's an elite screen setter and a really damn good rebounder, especially offensive rebounder. He was 4th in the entire NBA in offensive rebounds per game. He is just massive. He's super strong. His muscles are ginormous. He's got a great two-man game with Cade Cunningham. When those two are on the floor together, they have a plus 12 net rating. He was third in dunks in the NBA last season with like 189. And once he gets inside in the restricted area, there's nothing you can do to stop him. In the playoffs, though, he just looked terrified. Like, it was really nothing that the defenders were doing to slow him down. It was just him being scared in the biggest moment, and he fully cracked under the pressure. Absolutely fumbled, and I'm not gonna deny that. Obviously, he was bad in the playoffs, but again, I just think that the reason he is this high, and I couldn't fathom putting him lower, like I mentioned, if you want to put Townsend at number 3, you can do that, that's fine, and have Duren up at number 4, but I think the lowest you still go with Duren is number 4. The Pistons would not have been the first seed out east, winning 60 games without him, and I think with all the crap that is happening with his contract situation in the offseason so far, at the time of recording, that contract still has not been figured out, by the way, and with everyone scrutinizing his play in the playoffs, I think he's going to come into next season wanting to prove everyone wrong, and I can really see Jalen Duren being a 22-12 kind of player next season, while still being a plus defender. Really improved his defense as well. He was 11th in the Defensive Player of the Year voting for some reason, but whatever. Jalen Duren at number 3. Now, the number 2 spot. Who do I have at number 2? And again, if you want to have this guy number 1, go for it, but in my opinion, Victor Wembanyama is the best center in the NBA. So in at number 2, I have Nikola Jokic of the Denver Nuggets. Now, I'm going to try and get through this as quick as possible with these two, but these guys are so damn elite. Last season, Jokic averaged 28 points, 13 rebounds, and 11 assists, along with 1.4 steals, on insane shooting splits of 57% from the field, 38% from 3, and 83% from the line, for a 67% true shooting percentage. He was the first ever player to lead the NBA in rebounds and assists. He was first in triple-doubles. He's the best offensive player that we have seen in so long, and is also one of the best offensive engines we have ever seen in ages. He finished as a member of the All-NBA First Team. He was an All-Star, second in MVP voting, and was 6th in Clutch Player of the Year. He improved the Denver Nuggets offense by 13.2 points per 100 possessions when he was on the floor, them being an historic defense. A historic defense, that was bad English. And then without him, the Nuggets were just an average, typical offense. He has insane touch around the rim, very feathery touch on his floaters. He does not miss in the 2-point range. 75% at the rim on extremely high volume. Great footwork in the post. And the only person that seemingly can stop him or limit him in the post is Rudy Gobert. And he has quite literally one of the best floater games that we have ever seen in NBA history. He shot 63.5% from 2 last season. He created almost 20 open looks per 100 possessions for his team, which leads the NBA, and is a 99th percentile passing quality player. Every season, Jokic makes history. That's just what he does. I could go on forever and ever about his offense, but I'm not going to, because I don't want to be here forever and ever. And Jokic also had a 13.5 positive net rating last season, which is just incredible. However, again, my criteria to be the best, you need to be good on both sides of the floor. I just can't understand why people have players so high up in their rankings who are bad on one side of the floor. I will never understand that. Basketball is, yes, more offensively looked at, but defense is just as important. That is ultimately why I don't have Jokic in at my number 1 spot. He's just a very poor rim protector. He's not athletic. He's not very fast. He does not jump very high. He's not very great at moving his feet against most capable players when it comes to them being able to handle the ball and just being even somewhat quick. And he's not a very good vertical spacer. He's not a good jumper, so he can't contest shots of more skilled big men. And if it wasn't how smart he was as a basketball player in general, he would be a horrible defender. Like I mentioned, he did average 1.4 steals per game. He's really good at anticipating passing lanes, able to read certain players super well. And again, just without his IQ, he would be a bad defender. And he also just had a really bad playoff series versus the Timberwolves for his standards. He did still put up a near triple-double, but he had less points and less assists on terrible shooting. 55.4% true shooting, 47.5% effective field goal shooting, 19% from 3 on 6 attempts. Just not very good. And again, if you want to have Jokic number 1, sure, but me personally, I just can't have someone who is a bad defensive player or who is bad on one side of the floor anywhere near the best at their position. He is obviously because of how damn good he is on offense, but to be the best, you need to be the best as an NBA player. This isn't just basketball, this is being a part of a team, and that is why I have Victor Wembanyama in at my number 1 spot. Obviously, you guys know me. I think Wemby's the best in the world. Spoiler alert. Victor Wembanyama is the best defensive player that we have seen since Bill Russell and will go down as the best defender ever. He is already the most impactful defender ever. He was the first ever unanimous defensive player of the year last season, all-NBA first team, all-defensive first team, all-star, third in MVP voting, and Western Conference Finals MVP. He has the most aura on defense ever. He single-handedly prevents the most shot attempts that I have ever seen at the rim, standing at 7'4". With an 8-foot wingspan, Wemby averaged 25 points, 12 rebounds, 3 assists with 1 steal, and a little over 3 blocks per game, and he was first in the NBA in blocks and stocks on 51% from the field, 35% from 3, and 85% from the free throw line for a 63% true shooting percentage. Victor Wembanyama has already made so much history in the NBA. Like, he was the first player to lead in the NBA in blocks per game and total blocks in his first 3 seasons in the NBA. Most blocks in a single playoff game with 12. And just the stuff that he does on the defensive end is unprecedented. Last season, he held opponents to 9% below their average field goal percentage at the rim and 9% below from everywhere. That number is crazy. And although that might not seem as high compared to some other people, remember that opponents will only take what they think are guaranteed shots when Wemby is anywhere near the vicinity. Every single other player here, their opponent's field goal attempts are way higher than Wemby's. Wemby only contests around 7 shots at the rim per game. That's crazy. He set an unprecedented net rating with a plus 16, which is higher than Jokic's and Shea's. Jokic especially is known for being the on-off GOAT, and Wemby just completely cleared him of that. With Wemby on the court, the Spurs defense improved by 10 points, taking them from an average defense without him to one of the best we have ever seen and the best in the NBA alongside the OKC Thunder. He led the NBA in net rating, he led the NBA in defensive rating, and unlike Jokic, he excels at both sides of the floor. He's an elite vertical spacer. He's the biggest and most scary roll threat ever. He can finish over the top of anyone because of his frame and his length, and this makes him the best lob target ever. He can space the floor at an excellent level as well. He can handle the ball like crazy for someone with his size. He's got good touch around the rim. He can finish in the most insane ways, again, because of how long he is. There is quite literally almost nothing that Wemby cannot do on the basketball floor. In the playoffs, his defense was even more dominant. He still had a plus 14.2 on-off rating, which led the NBA, held opponents to 10% below their average field goal percentage from everywhere, 18% from below 6 feet, 15.5% from less than 10 feet, while still averaging 3.5 blocks per game. And although he didn't have the best finals, he was still really damn good in the finals. He legit, in his first playoff run at 22 years old, led the San Antonio Spurs to the NBA championship, beating the reigning champs and one of the best defensive teams we've ever seen in the Western Conference Finals. I could talk about Wemby forever. I just think that he is the number 1 best center in the NBA because he's the best defensive player ever while still being so damn elite on the offensive side of the ball, whereas Jokic is one of the best offensive players ever, but is just a mid-tier defender. That is ultimately why I think that Wemby is higher than Jokic. I would love to talk about Wemby forever, but I've probably already been here for way too long, and I want to be done. So, yeah, that will be all from me for my top 10 centers in the NBA. Let me know what you guys agree with. Let me know what you don't agree with. Thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it. And as always, I'll see you in the next one.